So what are the strategies then? And now I want to maybe go through some. I like this one, give me my data. In case you are fed up with Facebook, I think this is a really useful tool. And also maybe a tool that even if you don't leave Facebook, you can start using. What it does is that it kind of gathers all your data on your Facebook site, and it helps you to store it. So if you have interesting discussions with people, or if you want to store your social network, yeah, offline, and this is a very, very useful tool. Maybe also because, you know, Facebook can disappear tomorrow. It has happened in the internet, you know, many times. Yeah, you might think, oh well, we are with 700 million people, you know. No, of course. It's very has so often has happened that just think of Friendster and MySpace. Yeah, MySpace is dying, you know, and it has happened very, very soon. It could happen that MySpace will go offline very, very soon. Yeah. So storing your own data is quite useful thing to do.
E non immagazzinare I dati nel cloud computing perché glieli date di nuovo loro.
Of course, you know, with one
imparare a tenere ben stretti nel proprio hard disk.
No, definitely. And so one disruption, major disruption of electricity, you know, for instance, can cause that a lot of the data is just gone. And so, especially also if you are researching it, or if you have very interesting debates, you know, it's interesting to think of the way to store it. Because I'm not dismissing Facebook, you know, saying that it's all trivial. Of course not. The events in Tunis and in Cairo, Alexandria, etc., they show that, you know, something important could happen. At least, you know, Facebook can trigger some situations, as we are seeing right now in Spain. And so it's a bit too easy to just to dismiss it as a huge pile of trivial data. No, I know that there are some interesting debates happening there, but I advise you, if this happens, you know, please store them. Another option is, of course, to leave it all together. There's this Seppuku website, and probably the Web 2.0 suicide machine is a bit more well known. They are quite controversial. Often I think these days they don't work anymore because Facebook is trying to prevent the web suicide machine of deleting your file. But as you all know, it is quite difficult to leave Facebook, and you need to be very disciplined. You cannot touch any you know, Facebook site or click on anything, because that will again reactivate your account. And so a systematic approach where you delete everything and do not come back to Facebook site for at least 3, 4, 5 months is necessary if you want to quit it at the moment. Quitting Facebook, you know, is one thing, and I've done this together with 50,000 other people about a year ago. But that in itself, you know, is not so interesting. Interesting is, of course, more, you know, what are the alternatives? And the alternatives are really underway now. They are developed, and they use a completely different, you know, paradigm. And so I show you a few alternatives. The GNU Social initiative, and that is comes from the free software and open source community. Also from that same community is a software called Crabgrass. It comes from the Debian developers community. Here's again another one. It's called Appleseed. It's called the first open source, fully decentralized social networking software. And that kind of sums up what these new initiatives want to do. And they really break with the centralized platform philosophy of Twitter and Facebook. And they adapt all the social networking features, but what they do is they install it on local servers, and you are in charge. And very, very much in the same direction as happened maybe 5 years ago with the big shift in the blogging community away from the centralized services like Blogger, Blogspot, and so on, towards WordPress, which you can install, you know, and you are in charge yourself. Kind of, you know, an anti-corporate sentiment or a romantic move. This is really something. This is a quite natural development that is inherent to, let's say, the internet philosophy itself. Internet, and this is the problem that we always have. Internet is producing monopolies, but at the same time, it offers the opportunity to always develop, you know, distributed, decentralized alternatives. And they are really both, you know, what the internet is driving. And we could even say that the development towards centralized monopolies and the decentralized.
Da un lato il monopolio, dall'altro la possibilità di decentralizzare.
Okay, and the most well-known initiative is by four students of NYU, New York University. It's probably the one that is maybe the more you know, promising. It's called Diaspora. They started 1 year ago. They made some kind of beta launch in October. It didn't look very well. It didn't really work. But you know, they received a lot of kind of money, and there's a lot of goodwill behind the Diaspora. And maybe this is going to be the platform, you know, that is going to be most successful. Here I have another one. They're really, this is more recent, the one that I found, Nose Rub. I like what it says here, the phrase, Nose Rub wants to be an inspiration, protocol, and implementation of a decentralized social network. Sounds geeky, it surely is. So, this stuff is still at very much at the basic level of computer geeks who are programming this environment. Yeah? So we have to be a little bit patient at this moment. Yeah? We cannot expect, let's say, a decentralized alternative for Facebook to appear overnight. This is not realistic. And so, but we will come, you know, quite soon, and we will see that people will understand that the social networking philosophy of Facebook is good, but that there are a lot of negative sides to its sheer size. Also, maybe that's less known, there are also developments on the way to develop, let's say, alternatives to Twitter. One of the, you know, the real leaders and philosopher of blogging, Dave Weiner, he is the inventor of the RSS feed. He is very, very much arguing for the development of a decentralized form of Twitter. I showed you one here. It's called StatusNet. And it has the same philosophy, and to have an open source platform that you can download yourself. Here's another one, it's called Thimble. Also, and it's a free, open source, distributed microblogging. And microblogging is the word for Twittering, as you all know. And this Thimble was developed by a guy called Dimitri Kleiner. He's based in Berlin, and we, the Institute of Network Culture, we have published recently his Telecommunist Manifesto, which is kind of an analysis why everything is free and open. Maybe a little bit along the lines that I said before about Jean-Moulier-Boutin and Matteo Pasquinelli. It's a little bit in that direction. You can download it from the internet. There are also copies here of this manifesto.
Ci sono anche e stanno sorgendo numerose alternative a Twitter. In particolare io vi parlo di quello che...
Yeah, this is also the other direction, I think, in which internet culture is going. And that is to question the economy of free and open, let's say from below. And there are now a lot of initiatives underway to reintroduce or introduce, let's say, economic relationships from below, to encourage people to pay, and to go away from the idea that everything has to be free and open just for the sake of it. No, but because we know that this is not a sustainable model. And without going back to copyright regime of the corporations, we think that it's possible to start an economy from below, amongst the users, to bring in some kind of monetary element. And Flatter, which I'm showing here, is one example of a social micropayment platform. Other examples that I can show you here, one is called Kachingo, Thank This is another one. There's also an attempt which was made, to finance, pre-finance bands, and to reintroduce the idea that musicians must make a living. It's interesting, but Celeband didn't quite work. Went bankrupt. It's a very interesting case if you want to study this, if you want to try to find out how we can set up an internet economy from below, not from the top, but with only one or two companies making all the profit. So Celeband is a very interesting case study that you could make. Celeband then moved on and started this venture with African musicians called Africa Unsigned. These are interesting. We also in Amsterdam we have this famous example of Fab Channel. Very, very interesting attempt. Also went bankrupt, and that's why if you want to go more into the economy of internet, these are the kind of the examples that we must study if we want to find out how we can make a living online, which is not a precarious future, but a future in which the internet is taken very seriously, and we are also taking care that the people who create the content can make a living. Thank you very much.